Hello, my name's Graham Squire and I'm running for Vice President of Student Activities. I'm currently in my third year of Business Management and Enterprise. I've been part of the football team for every year since I've been here. I'm on the committee in the second year. I'm running for Vice President of Student Activities because I feel that various things such as exposure of the sports teams and societies needs to be greater. For example, during the Freshers' Fair, one of the main roles is to ensure that many sports and societies get as much people as possible to join their clubs. I believe this is one of the key ways to achieve this, and by having a well-rehearsed, well-thought-out Freshers' Fair, this will help that do that. So by spending large amounts of time on the build-up to this and ensure that everything is done properly, then I can definitely help to maximise turnout. Also liaising with the chairman as well as the SU to ensure that layouts and space are used and utilised properly to maximise full potential. Also, the recognition of sports teams. I feel like sports teams don't always get as much publicity as they perhaps deserve, and by liaising with the media and communications executive, we can combine our efforts to make sure that it's better for every sports team. We aren't single entities, and as we are both executives, we should work together to create synergy within the teams to enhance the outcomes of what we do. So, really, I want to put the teams on the map and make sport at DMU bigger than what it already is. Wednesday lectures, that's always a big one every single year. I believe it's unfeasible to actually have Wednesday lectures off completely. However, what I believe we can do is consolidate the lectures on a Wednesday to, say, the 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock slots, thereby freeing more people to be able to take part in the sports and societies. RAG is also a key issue that I believe is getting better year on year. 2 years ago, it's the best young RAG of the year. And also this year, Liam and his team have done really well to make it successful upon the second year's achievements. So I believe 3 firm favourites such as Escape and Evade, as well as the Naked Calendar and Movember, I can make it more successful. But also add my own personal twist, such as the 24-hour sporting event, just to name one of the examples. Also, during the RAG week, I believe more prizes to be given out. It will not only raise awareness of it, but it will also make more participation. Okay, that'll do for me for now.
Oh, thank you. Hi, I'm Laura Thompson. I'm also running for VB Student Activities. I'm currently a third-year dance student. I've also been part of a sports team for the 3 years I've been at university. I've been a player, captain and a chairman at the moment. I'm also a student sports officer and a stand on the student council. I realise the reason I want to go for this job is that I realise that being part of university life is more than just having a degree. The experiences I've had from being part of the sports team go way beyond the experience I've had as a degree. The friends I've made, the skills I've learned and the leadership that I've also learned. My main aims, if I get elected as President of Student Activities, are to place more importance upon sports in the DSU. Obviously through supporting the campaign for the new build of John Stanford, I also think that there's a need for communication between sports teams and the media officer, in that we need to give more communication as to what the sports teams are doing to the student body as a whole, so that the student bodies feel like that they're being represented through sport and that the university is more graduated towards sports and not just the academic side. I want to encourage participation at Wednesday matches and varsity. So there's a lot of precedence given to football and rugby on varsity matches, and there's a lot of sports teams which are underrepresented through varsity and who do very well at varsity as well, so we need to give them more representation. I also would like to refocus Raise and Give. Although Liam's done a brilliant job so far, I'd like to give more focus on the student body as a whole, giving more participation to RAG, so them having positive campaigns through there's obviously been positive campaigns through Blood Drive and Naked Calendar and RAG Week as a whole, but I think if you give the student body an incentive to go against each other, almost like not competition, but to give an incentive, they might come up with new ideas rather than the execs come out with it all the time. I want to raise the profile of societies and the smaller sports teams. I'd like to give a better understanding of Freshers Week, give the sports teams, give the society, more of a platform to speak there, have their voice heard. I've also want to give more emphasis upon creating a more student-involved union rather than just sports teams and societies alone. Thank you very much.
You both mentioned Liam. I'm not going to bring his head up any more than it is. But in terms of your role, what do you think are the biggest strengths and failures of your predecessor, and what will you do to ensure that these aren't your weaknesses? Pretend he's neither of Laura.
I think that there's been a lot of focus given to RAG over this year, and although it's done really well, I think that the sports teams have almost dropped below the belt, not in the way that the exec has dealt with it, but how the sports teams have responded to the things that have been happening. So there hasn't been as much involvement with sports teams in the SU on nights out, things like that. So for me personally, I want to put more emphasis on sports teams and societies in particular, getting them involved and getting their voices heard rather than just being societies, and people don't realise that they're there and they can give you a representation throughout the university.
Okay. Well, a couple of things really. Only slight things. Firstly, all the sports teams, for example, they play weekly fixtures. I believe all the fixtures, all the results should be broadcast more often. So through the help of me liaising with chairmen to find out the results, and then obviously handing them over to media communications, we can help together to ensure that this happens. And also with the RAG Society, I believe further advertising is needed with this to ensure that more people are aware of this, particularly freshers, people starting their first year. By having them more involved in it, then we've got people for year on year after that. They can spend more time with it and get better involved with it.